Hello, Conduit Gaming here. In today's video, I wanted to take a look at Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2 and see why and how the series failed and is seemingly never going to get a sequel or more attention from Obsidian. Pillars of Eternity was developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Paradox Interactive. The game series was crowdfunded through Kickstarter, raising over $4 million from more than 70,000 backers. The first game was released in 2015 and then followed by its sequel, Pillars of Eternity 2: Deadfire, in 2018. The series received high praise from critics and fans alike, with the first game winning multiple awards. However, despite its critical success, the series has struggled to gain sort of mainstream appeal and failed to achieve the commercial success it desired. Especially the second game, as you can tell by the fact that they made a sequel. The first game obviously generated enough interest and money for the company to kind of want to continue in the universe. But after the second game, sales kind of stagnated. They definitely wanted to do more, well, kind of hope for more from the series. One of the most interesting aspects of the development of Pillars of Eternity is its connections to classic CRPGs of the past, I'll call them. Obsidian Entertainment was actually founded by developers who had previously worked on classic RPGs like Fallout and Planescape Torment. The team wanted to create a game that kind of called back to the golden age of RPGs in the 90s and 80s, with deep, complex storytelling and a focus on player choice and consequence. The team's experience with classic RPGs is evident in Pillars of Eternity's gameplay mechanics, which kind of wants a more slower paced tactical combat system with a lot more character customization options. The game also features a rich and immersive world that is reminiscent of classic RPGs like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale. The team's love for the genre shines through in every aspect of the game, from the intricate lore to the world building and the deep and engaging story. However, the development of the game was not without its challenges. The team faced numerous technical and creative obstacles during development, which led to delays and setbacks, as it was supposed to come out in 2014, but it got delayed all the way back to 2015, and it was announced in 2012. And I think a lot can change in the market in that amount of time, especially with the delays. And then the game's crowdfunding campaign was a bit of a double-edged sword, as it gave the team the resources they needed to make the game they wanted, but it also put them under the immense pressure to deliver a game that lived up to the backers' expectations. Despite these challenges, the team at Obsidian Entertainment persevered, and the end result was a game that was praised by critics and fans alike for its deep and immersive gameplay mechanics and intricate storytelling. One of the main reasons for the series' failures is its gameplay mechanics. The game is a classic isometric RPG, similar to Baldur's Gate, as I mentioned. The game offers a deep and engaging experience with its slow-paced tactical combat. However, these gameplay mechanics may not appeal to a broader audience, as it's pretty intimidating for newcomers, especially as, man, in 2015, not many new isometric RPGs were really coming out. That wasn't something that the broader gaming community has really embraced, as it kind of fell out of fashion back in the early 2000s. The game's pacing can feel slow, and the amount of text and dialogue, it can be overwhelming for some players. Because some people, the game really just doesn't have too much mainstream appeal. The game offers a rich and immersive world. It can be challenging for some players to become invested in the story, as it takes a considerable amount of time to unfold, and the game's combat system can also feel a bit repetitive and grindy, with the players having to engage in numerous battles to progress through the story. However, these mechanics are what makes Pillars of Eternity unique and challenging. But that's the reason why it's beloved by the hardcore RPG fanbase. Another reason why Pillars of Eternity failed to achieve mainstream success is its marketing strategy. The game's developers and publisher did little to promote the game outside of its Kickstarter. Instead, they relied on word of mouth and online forums to generate buzz around the game. While this approach may have worked and did work for a niche audience, it failed to attract a wider audience that may have been interested in the game. The game's promotional material also didn't do enough to highlight the unique aspects of the game that would appeal to a broader audience. The game's slow-paced combat and heavy focus on text and dialogue weren't exactly appealing to the average gamer or people who play Call of Duty. Furthermore, the release timing of the game may have contributed to its lack of commercial success. The first game was released in 2015 during a time when the gaming industry was experiencing a shift towards more action-packed, fast-paced games. Pillars of Eternity was a throwback to classic RPGs, which just isn't as attractive to mainstream audience. The sequel, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, was released in 2018, which was also a crowded year for video game releases, making it difficult for the game to stand out. The first game needed to make a much bigger splash than it did for the second game to have succeeded. There was so much for a game like this to offer. The Pillars of Eternity series has exceptional storytelling, immersive world building, and intricate gameplay mechanics. The game's world of Eora is rich with history, lore, and memorable characters, making it a joy to explore. The game's developers at Obsidian Entertainment are known for their ability to craft deep and engaging storylines that keeps players invested. I mean, just see Fallout New Vegas. Some would call it their magnum opus. I mean, definitely one of the best games of all time. And Pillars of Eternity is really no exception to Obsidian making great games. One of the standout features of the series is its intricate character creation and leveling systems. Players can choose from a variety of classes, races, and backgrounds to create a character that suits their playstyle, and the second game even kind of builds off of the first one by letting you multi-class now. And as the game progresses, players can level up their characters and unlock new abilities, making for a satisfying sense of progression. Combat in Pillars of Eternity is also noteworthy for its depth and complexities. Players, especially on the higher difficulties, have to carefully manage their party's positioning, abilities, and equipment to make sure that you win each combat encounter. And the game's real-time with pause combat system allows players to issue commands to the other parties on the fly, adding an element of kind of strategy. And then I think it makes it a bit more interesting than just, I guess, turn-based. Not that turn-based is bad or uninteresting, but I think it's pretty unique in that, it's real time with pause, and of course the second game added the ability to make it turn-based. Another strength of the series is its dedication to player choice and consequences. The game is filled with difficult moral decisions that can have far-reaching consequences for the player in the game world. And I think, the game really raises some unique questions about, gods and death, and I don't know, I really find the lore of the universe and how you're kind of, as a watcher in the universe who's able to talk to dead people, how, you see a separate side of the universe that regular people don't get to see. And the second game definitely builds off of that, as you literally talk to the gods and are a champion of theirs. Or maybe you want to help destroy them. I mean, just another example of how just many choices there are in the game. Overall, Pillars of Eternity combination of exceptional storytelling, intricate gameplay mechanics, and immersive world building make it a standout in the RPG genre. While the series didn't really find commercial success, it still has a very passionate fan base and a critical acclaim. In conclusion, Pillars of Eternity's failure to achieve mainstream success can be attributed to a combination of factors. Its gameplay mechanics, while beloved by its fans obviously, may not have been appealing to a wider audience. The game's marketing strategy failed to promote the unique and interesting aspects of the game that would appeal to more people and maybe convince some first-time isometric RPG buyers to possibly get it. Additionally, the timing of the game's release in both of the windows, the 2015 and 2018 window, may have not been ideal. The gaming industry was experiencing a shift towards more action-packed games at the time also. Despite these factors, Pillars of Eternity remains a beloved and critically acclaimed series in the RPG genre. Its deep and engaging storytelling, intricate gameplay, mechanics, and immersive world make it a must-play for fans of isometric RPGs. It's a reminder that sometimes the most important thing in game development is just creating a game that you're passionate about. As while they're not commercially successful, I think that people will be talking about Pillars of Eternity for a long time, just like how people still talk about Fallout New Vegas. So I guess, what are the prospects for a third game in the series? Obsidian Entertainment has, of course, not made any official announcements on the matter of a third game. Although, according to a Kotaku interview I found, it seems that they haven't sworn off the possibility of a third game or another entry in the series in another way entirely. As the director of the Pillars of Eternity's game said, I think that we need to believe that if we try to make a game in this style again, the existing fans will enjoy it, new players will enjoy it, and X fans who are disappointed by Pillars 1 and or 2 will come back to it, Sawyer adds. But the main issues is that the developers would need to be excited about making it, and right now, there's not a lot of excitement around it. So I guess he's kind of making it sound like if there is going to be a third game, it's not going to be for a long time. And I mean, I don't know, with Microsoft buying up Obsidian, seems like they're going to be pretty busy for a while. Of course, they have the Outer Worlds, they just dropped Grounded. They're making that other new RPG of some sort, Avowed, Disavowed. So, I mean, I don't know. If you're holding your breath waiting for Pillars of Eternity 3, you're going to be holding your breath for a long time. While these statements, of course, don't really mean much, he's just kind of talking in an interview, kind of thinking out loud about it. But maybe they do offer a bit of hope. If a third game would ever be in the works, I think it'd be interesting to see how Obsidian chooses to make changes to the gameplay mechanics. I mean, as you saw from the first to second game, they kind of did the shift to naval combat and you having to buy multiple boats and kind of sailing around. I wonder if they would maybe switch you back to land. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what kind of changes they make to the formula. And I guess what would the story be? I don't know. I would be interested in seeing what happens. But regardless, if a third game ever is released, I will be hyped. I imagine fans will be excited, and hopefully it finds the commercial success that has eluded the first two games in the series.